Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. An exciting kind of news release here talking about Pickles for 2 launch. We're going to go into some details about the partnership that was kind of released in the press release, but we'll go into it in more details, talk about some of the immediate feedback and other things. First things first, Sean, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jason?
I'm good. Well, cool. I guess let's hop into it. Do you want to maybe chat about your Pickles for 2 launch? You know, the line that caught me the most is, you know, people were pleasantly surprised about how it tasted. Do you want to say anything on that?
Look, the reviews are really good. I think that people don't know what to expect, which is natural. It's very polarizing. I mean, if you look at our Facebook posts about it, there's a lot of people that are super excited. There's a lot of people that are posting, you know, funny GIFs, you know, the green emoji with you know, where somebody's like feeling nauseous. And that's great. I mean, that's exactly what we were expecting. But you know what? Everybody's talking. People are sharing it. They're tagging their friends. It's just great. In fact, and I think we did mention this in the release, a buyer, maybe we didn't mention this in the release. It might've happened after the news went out. A buyer from one of the largest retail chains in the country that we've been talking to emailed me. We must have, I don't know what day we put out the first Instagram post that said the pickles flavor is now available. And he emailed me, must have been an hour or two later, with a screenshot of our Instagram post saying, hey, can you add this to your product submission form? We might like to put this in the stores. It might be a fun little test to do. So we had already submitted our 8 flavors to this retailer. We already had a call. We already, they've already requested that we start the vendor paperwork and getting our account set up with them. There's no guarantees. I want to be clear. You know, there's no guarantees that we're going to get in, but we took this as a great sign. Obviously, he's been following us on Instagram. When we spoke to him, he hasn't even tried the ice cream yet. But when we spoke to him a few weeks ago, we said, hey, do you want samples? He said, I don't need to try the ice cream. He said, I see the feedback on social media is amazing. So he's very interested in the product. The pickles, it's gotten us a lot of attention. We also got an email from a 3D, 4D ultrasound clinic in Texas. Now, I don't know, you know, anybody who hasn't gone through a pregnancy in the last few years might not even know what this is, but these are centers where the women go and I mean, everybody kind of knows what the ultrasound is. They've all seen the 2D ultrasound, which sometimes you can't even tell what's in there, you know, what they're looking at, which way is it facing. I remember that's what I went through with my wife's pregnancy. But now they've got 3D, 4D, and HD, and you can actually see the face of the baby. It's just an amazing technology. And so these centers, there's centers all over the country that provide this service to pregnant women and their families. And in fact, we got contacted about the pickle flavor after the pickle flavor was released by one of these agencies, a center in Texas. They wanted to have some information about Nightfood for their customers that they could put in their goodie bags. And so we started working that out, and now they put us in touch with headquarters, and now they want to do this with all 19 of their centers. And about 12 or 13 of them are in Texas. They've got them sprinkled around throughout the country as well. So this is a great opportunity. We've talked about wanting to be in every touch point. And, you know, this is a center. They service the pregnant women. They provide services. That's their client. And they see the value in letting those moms know, hey, there's this ice cream. You know, it's endorsed by the American Pregnancy Association. You may want to try it. And now that the country, I think, is hopefully opening up a little bit more, we're going to start pursuing even more and more of these types of partnerships and opportunities.
Awesome. I mean, cool little partnership, but I think you really hit the nail on the head. You know, we're talking to doulas. I think makes a lot of sense that we're trying to chat or get partnerships with some of these clinics. Is there anything else you kind of wanted to touch on? In the press release, you had, you know, good inquiries, great feedback, obviously this partnership that you just chatted about. Anything feedback or inquiry wise? I mean, you mentioned obviously the buyer that seems pretty interested.
Yeah, I think, and I know we've probably gone public in the past stating that we weren't planning to put, and the pickle flavor would not be available at retail, it would be online only. I think I would probably want to revise that statement. You know, in addition to that one buyer, we're talking to New York distribution that we have and the group in the Pacific Northwest. We've named the group in New York, which is Associated Supermarket Group. That rollout had gotten pushed back a little bit. We were originally thinking, I think when we announced it in July, we were expecting to be on shelf in July. It's just a really tricky time to do business. The group in the Pacific Northwest, we still haven't announced who they are. They told us last week that it looks like it's going to be September 20th or so when we start hitting shelves. They ordered their product in July and they shipped it, and we shipped it, and they've already paid for it. So, it's definitely going to happen. But we're talking to them also about the pickle flavor. So I think that, probably not with the larger retailers that, like a Harris Teeter, like I don't expect us to add the pickle flavor to that mix. But I think for the potential new retailers that we're going into, that are interested in doing something with it, and also for these individual, like we mentioned in the release about the New York chain, it's a decision where the headquarters approves the products that can go on shelf, and then the individual store decision maker gets to decide what goes in, which is very different the way an Albertsons division or a Kroger division would work, where headquarters says, you put this, and they set out a planogram, and each product has its own space on the shelf, and that's the case in all the corporate stores. So I think it's likely that we'll see the pickle flavor on shelf, and if the big deal comes through that we're hoping for, it's going to be in a lot of stores, and it's as we've seen, it's getting some people pretty excited. So it could be a huge seller, but it's definitely going to be a big conversation piece.
I think it's cool giving people a little touch on, how the markets are different as well. I know we've done the New York, kind of market before, but interesting to obviously hear the behind the scenes kind of look. The final thing you kind of mentioned in the press release is potential media coverage. Is there anything you wanted to cover in that regard? Let people know maybe, where you expect to be or...
Well, we've had our first celebrity post about the pickle flavor, which is from a woman named Ariane Celeste. Anybody who watches UFC fighting might recognize her as one of the ring girls. So we sent her some pickle ice cream and some of the other flavors, and she really liked it, and she posted about it. So we're working with some influencers. We did get picked up, as mentioned, by Food Network magazine, and that was the pickle flavor was featured there. We got a piece of coverage recently in A Taste of Home, and there's more hits coming. Tim is in touch with some major media outlets, and we're just expecting this to just continue to pick up as more people get to try the ice cream.
Well, no, look, I think this was a great video. Obviously, I'm not sure, at least for me being a part of this, looking at the launch, I was like, I'm not sure. I personally don't think I'd try it. It sounds weird to me. And then obviously polarizing, like you said, but it seems things are absolutely crushing it, which is fantastic. So I guess we'll leave it there unless there's anything you wanted to mention in terms of the launch.
No, it's like I said, it's going really well. And I think for these types of retailers that are able, even with the big retailer that is thinking about putting it in, like we wanted to make it clear to them, hey, we think it's a great idea, but we weren't necessarily, the reason we didn't submit it is because it could be a huge hit and it could be a bust, and we don't want to take chances on your shelf. But if you are comfortable with that, that's your call, Mr. Buyer. We're happy to play that game because it can be a huge success. It could also be a huge attention get for us. I mean, we could even do a promo, buy 1 pint of any flavor and get a free pint of the pickle. So there's different ways that we can incorporate that in there, take advantage of the natural curiosity that comes around this flavor with, the biggest retailers in the country.
I think we'll leave it there. Obviously, thanks people for watching. If there's any questions, feel free to drop them below. We do see your questions around, kind of profitability and other things. So we'll get into that in a future video for sure. But any other questions that you guys want to see in the videos, let us know. But Sean, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Jason.